Hooray! Berlin has found the perfect solution to the bureaucracy problem. The city has decided that since it can no longer cope with processing information, it urgently needs to increase the volume of information received. Logical, right? So, Berlin is launching a new housing and rental rates registry. Now, apartment owners will have to report almost everything to the state. The area of the apartment, the rental amount, utility payments, furniture surcharges, the date of the last renovation, the date of the lease agreement, the actual rent charged, and much, much more. Until now, the state mainly learned about disputed cases only after complaints from tenants. It seems that this was not enough. Therefore, the approach is now changing. The state is no longer willing to wait for complaints from tenants and will start collecting information directly from all apartment owners. Remember how we were taught for years to protect personal data, not to share too much, not to pass on unnecessary information? Do you recall how government services would refuse to assist you, citing the magical law on personal information protection? Great. And now the law requires property owners to disclose almost everything about their most valuable assets to the state. If you are interested in such analyses of German laws, subscribe, like, and definitely leave a comment about what you think of this law. I'm very curious to know your opinion. And now for the most interesting part. Where will all this data be stored? Who will have access to it? How long will it be kept? And how can it be used if the law changes again in a few years? Another curious point. Under this law, the owner will have to specify the area of the apartment. But German legislation does not require the owner to have an official document confirming its exact size. If it later turns out that the area differs, where does good faith error end and responsibility begin? The irony is that all of this is presented as a path to justice through simplicity and technology. But let's be honest, an avalanche of new data has never made bureaucracy simpler, more efficient, or friendlier. Usually it's quite the opposite. In my opinion, this looks like another step towards the state having an increasingly comprehensive digital record of real estate. Some will call it transparency. Others will call it increased control. And one more question that is particularly relevant today. Government budgets are under serious pressure. Expenses remain high, and the need for additional revenue regularly becomes a subject of political discussions. Will such a volume of data eventually become the basis for new forms of regulation or taxation? For example, it will be very convenient to calculate the property tax rate for you after you have kindly provided the state with all the information about your property in a convenient digital format. Big Brother does not come suddenly. He comes in the form of yet another electronic form that needs to be completed by the end of the month.